Argentina is a country of South America, covering most of the southern portion of the continent. Throughout its history, Argentina has been a nation of immense potential and promise. It ranks as one of South America's largest economies. Welcome to our animated history channel. This episode presents a brief history of Argentina. The earliest traces of human life in the area, now known as Argentina, are dated from the Paleolithic period, with further traces in the Mesolithic and Neolithic. However, large areas were apparently depopulated during an extensive dry period between 4000 and 2000 BC. In the late 15th century, the native tribes of Quebrada de Humahuaca were conquered by the Inca Empire under Topa Inca Yupanqui to secure the supply of metals such as silver, zinc, and copper. The Incan domination of the area lasted for about half a century and ended with the arrival of the Spanish. Europeans first arrived in the region with the 1502 voyage of Amerigo Vespucci. The Spanish navigators Juan Díaz de Solís and Sebastián Cabot visited the territory in later decades. The Spanish raised the status of this region by establishing the Viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata in 1776. This viceroyalty consisted of today's Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay, as well as much of present-day Bolivia. The Viceroyalty was short-lived due to lack of internal cohesion among its many regions and lack of Spanish support. The British tried to invade Buenos Aires and Montevideo in 1806 and 1807, but were defeated both times by Santiago de Liniers. The beginning of the Peninsular War in Spain and the capture of the Spanish King Ferdinand VII created great concern all around the Viceroyalty. A new successful attempt, the May Revolution of 1810, took place. The Viceroyalty was also renamed, and it nominally became the United Provinces of the Rio de la Plata. Revolutionaries split into two antagonist groups, the Centralists and the Federalists, a move that would define Argentina's first decades of independence. On the 9th of July, 1816, the Congress of Tucumán formalized the Declaration of Independence, which is now celebrated as Independence Day. The 1820 Battle of Cepeda, fought between the Centralists and the Federalists, resulted in the end of the Supreme Director rule. Bernardino Rivadavia was appointed as the first president of the country. However, the interior provinces soon rose against him, forced his resignation, and discarded the constitution. In 1835, General Juan Manuel de Rosas became dictator of Argentina. He was a federalist, but he introduced a strong central government. A rebellion later removed him from power. Urquiza immediately began the task of national organization. He became provisional director of the Argentine Confederation in May 1852. Until the late 19th century, the natives of southern Argentina lived in their traditional way. However, General Julio Rica led an army to conquer them. Driven by this immigration wave and decreasing mortality, the Argentine population boomed and the economy grew dramatically. Its railway mileage rose from 500 to 30,000 kilometers. GDP grew so fast that despite the huge immigration influx. In 1865, Argentina was already one of the top 25 nations by per capita income. Between 1878 and 1884, the so-called Conquest of the Desert and Chaco occurred. The first conquest consisted of a series of military incursions into the Pampa and Patagonian territories, dominated by the indigenous peoples. The conquest of Chaco lasted up to finds of the century, since its full ownership of the national economic system only took place when the mere extraction of wood and tannin was replaced by the production of cotton. In 1916, Hipólito Yrigoyen, leader of the Radical Civic Union, won the election. He enacted social and economic reforms and extended assistance to small farms and businesses. Argentina stayed neutral during World War I. The second administration of Yrigoyen faced an economic crisis, precipitated by the Great Depression. In 1930, Yrigoyen was ousted from power by the military led by José Félix Uriburu. Although Argentina remained among the 15 richest countries until the mid-century, this coup d'etat marks the start of the steady economic and social decline that pushed the country back into underdevelopment. Argentina also stayed neutral during World War II, a decision that had full British support but was rejected by the United States after the attack on Pearl Harbor. A new military coup toppled the government, and Argentina declared war on the Axis powers a month before the end of World War II in Europe. After the 1943 coup, Juan Peron gradually emerged as leader. 3 years later, he was elected president. Peron introduced a number of welfare measures and nationalized industries. A revolution called the Revolution of Liberation forced Peron to flee abroad. In the next few decades, Argentina was marked by frequent coups d'etat, low economic growth, and then high growth rates. Occurring between 1970s and the 1980s, the Dirty War involved state terrorism in Argentina and disappearance of thousands of people. Meanwhile, inflation continued to rage and Argentina became heavily indebted. President Raúl Alfonsín was unable to solve the problem of hyperinflation in Argentina. Alfonsín handed over power to the next elected president, Carlos Saúl Menem. During the 1990s, Menem managed to curb inflation and he privatized industry. Argentina is a prominent regional power in the Southern Cone and Latin America, and retains its historic status as a middle power in international affairs. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel for new videos updated daily.